Alright friends, welcome back to Read Between the Lines. We are going to deliberate on two issues. One is the Essential Commodities Act. What are the advantages and disadvantages when government implements Essential Commodities Act? Second one is there are news reports that China is obstructing the flow of Brahmaputra's tributary. We are going to deliberate on what is it all about. Now the first issue is the Essential Commodities Act. Union Cabinet recently decided to extend a stockholding limit on traders of pulses, edible oils and oilseeds by one more year. That means the initial stockholding limit period ended on September 30, 2016 and government extended that period by one more year. And normally the price of any commodity is dictated by the supply and demand dynamics. And government can impose this Essential Commodities Act because of the reason sometimes excessive hoarding. What is meant by hoarding? Hoarding means storing excessive stocks. Some of the traders will sometimes resort to storing exorbitant quantity of stocks in godowns, and then they will create artificial scarcity. That means they will store thousands of tons of some particular product, say pulses, and subsequently scarcity will be created in the market. And storing like this is known as the hoarding. So hoarding of essential commodities sometimes take place. And after resorting to hoarding, what will happen? They will sell at exorbitantly high prices in black market. So hoarding and black marketing takes place for essential commodities. Last year it took place for onions. This year government apprehended such problem in pulses. That's why recently government decided to extend stock holding limits on traders of pulses, edible oils and oil seeds. That means government will impose that the traders cannot stock more than this much quantity. If government says you cannot stock more than 100 tons, then the traders can stock only up to 100 tons. Beyond that, they cannot stock. If they stock beyond that, then what will happen? They can be arrested, right? So this is the law empowering the center to intervene in the market to protect the consumer interests. And sometimes traders resort to artificial scarcity so as to prevent that. This is the law enacted in 1955 so as to intervene as and when traders resort to hoarding and black marketing. Are you clear? Whenever traders resort to, or whenever there is a scope for traders to resort to hoarding and black marketing, hoarding means storing excess quantities in godowns. Black marketing means selling them illegally. These two terms are very important. Hoarding means storing excessive quantities in godowns and creating artificial scarcity, and subsequently selling the product at higher prices is the black marketing. So hoarding and black marketing sometimes take place for some essential commodities, and so as to control that, so as to make available essential commodities to the common man, government enacted this law in the year 1955. And basically to protect the consumer interests. And as per this act, Government of India can declare any commodity as essential. The list of items include drugs, fertilizers, pulses, edible oils and petroleum products. The list of commodities are given and government can declare any of these commodities as essential depending on the requirement, depending on the circumstances. So, if the center feels that certain commodity is in short supply, it can impose stock holding limits. Then what will happen? It will improve supplies in the market and ultimately it will bring down the prices. So, this is all about the Essential Commodities Act. I have given further information here. Please go through it. once the state government introduces stockholding limits, then traders have to immediately sell the commodities in the market, any stocks held beyond the mandated quantity. As I have already told you, this will improve the supplies and prices will be reduced. And if the traders do not comply, then state government will conduct raids and punishments will be imposed. Right? So, this is the tool to crack down on hoarders and black marketers of such commodities. And it has got advantages and disadvantages. Advantages of Essential Commodities Act I have listed here. Once the stockholding limit is imposed, then the hoarding of essential commodities will be controlled. They cannot stock beyond certain limit given by the government. Then automatically prices will come down. The second point is black marketing of essential commodities will reduce. Then third one is essential commodities will be available to the common man without difficulty. Fourth is orderly environment will be created in the market. Then the last one is fear and speculation with regard to scarcity of particular commodity will be altogether eliminated. So, these are the advantages. If you ask disadvantages, in our country, almost all the crops are seasonal in nature. That means, if the stockholding limits are imposed to the bare minimum level, then what will happen? Making available the commodity throughout the year may become difficult. Then government has to intervene, government has to procure, and government has to store. So, it becomes difficult for the seasonal commodities to make available throughout the year. That is the biggest drawback of this Essential Commodities Act. Then second thing is, if the prices are always monitored through Essential Commodities Act, then what will happen? Farmers will lose interest. Farmers expect good prices, and price movements towards the higher end is normally expected by any businessman or by any farmer. If this stockholding limits and Essential Commodities Act is imposed quite frequently, then what will happen? Farmers may lose interest. Then third one is, it is difficult to differentiate between genuine stocks requirement as well as speculative hoarding. In our country, some good persons will definitely be there, and it is very difficult to distinguish between genuine stock holding and speculative hoarding. And because of this reason, sometimes government may not be able to decide which commodity is to be brought under Essential Commodities Act. Then fourth one is, if stock holding limits are imposed, traders may have no reason to invest in better storage infrastructure like godowns, cold storage facilities. And if traders feel that government at any time may impose stock holding limits, then why do they invest in cold storage facilities? Why do they invest in godowns? So that is the biggest disadvantage of this Essential Commodities Act. And one more thing is, we are laying emphasis on food processing. And food processing industry requires large stocks to be maintained to run their operations smoothly. And if sometimes this Essential Commodities Act is enforced, then what will happen? Then traders may lose interest in the development of food processing. Then if such limits are imposed, then foreign investment is likely to be affected in food processing as well as development of back-end infrastructure like cold storage facilities. So, this Essential Commodities Act has got merits and demerits, and government has to tread cautiously by taking the middle path. Right friends, let us move on to the second one about Brahmaputra. There is a news item that China blocked tributary of Brahmaputra. Almost it coincided with the news item with regard to India's discussions on Indus Water Treaty. When news came about review of Indus Water Treaty, exactly at the same time another news item came that China blocked tributary of Brahmaputra, and it created panic. And people are interpreting in different ways that China is supporting Pakistan. But if you look at the rational thinking and the facts, it is something else. And let us start from Brahmaputra. Brahmaputra originates from Yangtze Glacier in western Tibet. The origin of Brahmaputra is Yangtze Glacier in western Tibet, and Tibet is the region of China, please don't forget, and this Yangtze Glacier is towards the southeast of Mount Kailash and Manasarovar Lake. Then it flows through southern Tibet and subsequently it cuts through Himalayas to enter Arunachal Pradesh in India. And the name of the river in China is Erlang Sangpo. Please don't forget, the name of Brahmaputra in Tibet, or you can say in China, is Erlang Sangpo. And at the same time, the name of river in Bangladesh is Jamuna. 2-3 things, please don't forget. The name of Ganga river in Bangladesh is Padma. The name of Brahmaputra in Bangladesh is Jamuna. And third important river is there in Bangladesh, that is the Meghna. So 3 important rivers are there in Bangladesh. One is Padma. Padma means in India its name is Ganga. Second one is Jamuna. Its name is Brahmaputra in India. Third one is Meghna. So Padma, Jamuna, Meghna. These 3 are important rivers in Bangladesh. Let us come back to the present discussion. This river, Brahmaputra, passes through 3 countries. First one is the Tibet region of China, next India, then Bangladesh, and all the rivers of Bhutan also drains into Brahmaputra river. That is another important point. And Bhutan, one important river, that is the Manas. That Manas river originates from Bhutan and it is the tributary of Brahmaputra. And Brahmaputra main river passes through Tibet region, then India, then Bangladesh, and tributaries flowing through Bhutan merges into Brahmaputra, right? So this is all about the Brahmaputra river, and in India it passes through 2 states, that is Arunachal Pradesh and Assam. This is important point, right? And about the blockade of Brahmaputra tributary, China started Lalho project in 2014. This Lalho project is on the river Xiabuku. This Xiabuku is the tributary of Brahmaputra and it involves investment of $740 million. That means China's project, that is a Lalho project, involves investment of $740 million. It is development of hydroelectric plants, and this river is tributary of Brahmaputra. And China says that its dams do not restrict the flow of water towards India as they are based on run of the river principle. Run of the river means water will be impounded for generating hydroelectricity and subsequently water will be let out. That is for non-consumptive purpose. So China says the dams do not restrict the flow of river towards India as they are based on the run of the river principle. And if you look at this Xiabuku river, which is the tributary of Brahmaputra, it has got mean discharge volume that is only just 0.15% of total Brahmaputra's average discharge. This is very important point. This tributary, which is in the news recently as China is blocking water, has got only 0.15% of the discharge if you look at the total discharge of Brahmaputra, right? And if you want additional points, there's China's 13th 5-year plan proposed significant expansion of hydropower projects along the rivers that originate in Tibetan Plateau. Not only this river, Mekong River as well as Salween River, on those rivers also China is planning new dams. And the plan document released by China identified the need to scientifically develop and harness international rivers and deepen cooperation with other riparian countries along the rivers. And 2 important points are India and China have set up an expert level mechanism on trans-border rivers. Then in 2013, India and China signed a memorandum of understanding on trans-border rivers, due to which China has been supplying data on water flows. So the news item with regard to China blocking tributary of Brahmaputra is no cause for worry, because mechanism between India and China exists with regard to sharing of information on trans-border rivers. That is one important point. And another important aspect is Xiabuku, which is the tributary of Brahmaputra, is a minor river and nothing to worry. It is a part of their development of hydroelectric projects, right? So with this, let us conclude Read Between the Lines. Have a nice day. Thank you.